Hearing adjourned after issuing the interim order is what we are learning at this point in time. Saying that the participation in the survey is voluntary, surveyors cannot insist that people provide information. The collected data must be stored confidentially and should not be accessible to anyone except the Commission for Backward Classes. In that sense, the confidentiality of the same has to be maintained. The bench has also gone on to direct that the Commission must submit an affidavit with this regard. Concerns have been raised in the past as well about privacy and confidentiality of this information, and that's the reason why the court regarding the caste survey has said that participation in this survey is actually not mandatory. The government must talk about it and make a public announcement to this effect, saying that the participation is only voluntary. Hearing adjourned after issuing this interim order. Participation in this survey is going to be voluntary. No one can be coerced into giving out that information. The collected data also must be stored and should not be accessible to anyone except the Commission for Backward Castes. Commission for Backward Classes. Well, it's a big development amidst concerns that the data collected from the people regarding the caste survey would be made public, and also the fact that it could be misused. And that's the reason why the High Court today has said the participation in this very survey is not mandatory, and that people are not going to be forced to give out the information regarding their caste. The bench has directed the Commission must submit an affidavit in this regard. Sagay Raj has more. Sagay, talk to us about the matter in court today, given that this is an interim order that has been passed by the Karnataka High Court regarding how the information to be given out is mandatory. Nobody can be forced to talk about their caste.
Absolutely. The Karnataka High Court has passed an interim order where it has given instructions to the Karnataka government stating that this will not be a compulsory one, it will not be a mandatory one. If the people require them to give it, they can go ahead and give the information. And they have also asked the government and the people. And they have also said that the data which should be collected by the government should be maintained by them and it should not be shared with anybody else.
Talk to us about the plea in court as well. Sagay, as far as this matter is concerned, regarding concerns on how this information is sought from people who wouldn't be happy giving it.
Yeah, absolutely. There were concerns which were being raised by the Karnataka government asking that why are you even collecting the data of Aadhaar? Because there are a lot of internet scam which is happening. There are a lot of crimes which is happening using the data collection. So there were a lot of questions which was being raised during the arguments. That's when the Council of Karnataka government have mentioned that the data which will be collected will be kept with them and will not be shared with anybody. There will be a lot of secrecy in the data collection and will not be misused. And thereafter, the government, which has also heard the hearing of the opposition, have now passed an order saying that this will be an interim order where it's not mandatory for the people to go ahead and participate in this particular survey, and the details which will be collected by the Karnataka government should be kept secretly and should not be shared with anybody else.
I'll come back to you in a moment from now. GS Prashant, Karnataka BJP spokesperson, is now joining us. Talk to us about what your party's position is on what the court has said, that it's not going to be mandatory for people to give out the information regarding their caste for the purpose of the survey here.
See, Sneha, first of all, something called as a caste census can be undertaken only by the central government.
Right.
What the state government could have done was the socio-economic survey and other things. But if you look at the composition, they had entrusted that to Backward Classes Commission. Nobody was sure as to whether the Backward Classes Commission has the powers to conduct caste survey of people belonging to different sections of society, different communities, different castes. And moreover, now the High Court has ruled that the participation in survey is voluntary and government cannot insist or force people to participate. So therefore, The High Court also, I'm sure, would have considered various points such as how scientifically data is being collected, what is the mechanism they have for data privacy and data storage, especially keeping in mind the Data Protection Act. So therefore, the Karnataka government must respect the High Court decision, and now they must announce in the same fervor that, look, this is not mandatory to participate here, and that people who are getting benefits of reservation will not lose anything, that they must actually proclaim the same fervor as to what they were doing for the caste survey, as if Siddaramaiah had done a great job by introducing that, now that the reality check has beckoned Congress.
Yes, but the fact is that the Karnataka government and the court also has in fact said that the union government is opposing the caste survey for political reasons. But there's been double speak on this on the part of the union government is what the Karnataka Congress government is saying. That in the past, to suit themselves, they supported these surveys in different states, but in Karnataka, they wouldn't do it for political reasons.
No, we've never, see, as BJP, we have never objected to the poor and the needy getting any benefits. So the center has the exclusive prerogative to conduct the caste census, which is being done after a year or so. That the dates also have been notified from when the caste census will begin and how the enumeration process will go on. And here is Karnataka government. 2 months ago, they did this survey of scheduled castes and scheduled tribes. And now, again, they embarked upon this survey, and they wanted to do it in 15 days. And I think in the first couple of days when they started, I think only some thousands of people could have been enrolled, wherein, as per the timeline given by Siddaramaiah, they had to enroll more than a lakh and a half people per day. So therefore, even the government realized that they could not do it, but for political reasons and appeasement politics, they wanted to say that they are doing something for the benefit of people. But ultimately, truth and justice has prevailed, and court has ruled saying that this is not mandatory.
Okay.
And High Court has also specifically directed that how the data must be stored and the confidentiality of the data must be maintained. Because we are aware as to how in the previous survey done by Siddaramaiah government, they selectively leaked the report, and all of us know what happened thereafter. The report was not accepted, one member secretary had not signed it. So therefore, it's a word of caution from the High Court saying maintain confidentiality of the report as well.
That's right. I'm going to leave it at that for the moment. The court has also said that you have to tell the people, and a public announcement has to be made that giving out this information is not compulsory. That's the word of advice, an interim order that has come from the Karnataka High Court today to the Karnataka state government. More news coming in. Lieutenant Colonel Purohit has now been promoted to Colonel after acquittal in the 2008 Malegaon blast case. Purohit was among the 7 accused acquitted by the Special NIA Court on the 31st of July. By delivering the verdict, the court had said that mere suspicion cannot replace proof and cited lack of reliable and cogent evidence beyond reasonable doubt. Omkar Wable is getting in more details in that story, joining us from Mumbai at this point in time. An acquittal, and now something that he was expected, promoted to colonel's position, and this is what was really, Omkar, along expected lines, isn't it?
Exactly. Actually, his routine promotion was pending due to ongoing investigation by the ATS and later on NIA in Malegaon bomb blast. But ATS took a doubt on this whole procedure. Later on, the whole case shifted back to NIA. But now, after the acquittal, defense had to continue their routine procedures, and that is how Lieutenant Colonel promoted as a Colonel after the acquittal by this NIA Special Court. But I would like to mention those lines because NIA Special Court clearly highlighted that the suspicion cannot replace the proof, and that is how it cited the reliable and the cogent evidence beyond the reasonable doubt, and that is how the procedure went ahead. And finally, Colonel Purohit, Lieutenant Colonel Purohit, now he'll be called as a Colonel Purohit.
All right, I'm going to leave it at that for the moment. Getting in those details is Omkar Wable joining us from Mumbai City. More news coming in. Politics sparks off over Zubeen Garg's death. Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma alleges vested interest. Himanta says Assam CID will interrogate Shama Kanu Mahanta and everyone connected to this matter. Shama Kanu Mahanta was banned by the Assam government from hosting events or receiving state support amid the ongoing controversy surrounding the death of Assamese icon Zubeen Garg. Mahanta and Zubeen Garg's manager Siddhartha Sharma continue to face allegations of negligence and mismanagement in spite of the singer's known health issues with multiple FIRs against them.
এই গোটেই ঘটনাবোৰ 6 বছৰমান আগৰ পৰাই মোৰ চকুত আছিল আৰু আপোনালোকে যদি মোৰ বাইট দেখে মই সদায় কৈ আহিছিলোঁ যে জুবিন এটা ডাঙৰ সম্পদ কিন্তু একাংশ লোকে জুবিনক নিজৰ ব্যক্তিগত বিভিন্ন আমি সহজ সৰল ভাষাত কম যে ফায়দা উঠাবৰ কাৰণে ব্যৱহাৰ কৰা মই দেখিছিলোঁ যোৱা সংসদীয় ইলেকশ্যনত শ্যাম কানু মহন্তৰ প্ৰত্যেকটো পোষ্ট আপোনালোকে পঢ়িব থ্ৰ' এণ্ড থ্ৰ' তেওঁ নৰেন্দ্ৰ মোদী আৰু আমাক বিৰোধিতা কৰিয়ে সামাজিক মাধ্যম চলাই গৈছিল কিন্তু শ্যাম কানু মহন্তৰ ৰঙালীয়ে হওক নৰ্থ ইষ্ট ফেষ্টিভেলে হওক এইটোৱে অসমক প্ৰতিনিধিত্ব নকৰে
Rujoy Das getting in more details in that story from Guwahati. Rujoy, talk to us about the direction in which this investigation is going at this point in time, given that cases have been lodged against the manager as well, and what really is the alleged wrongdoing here as far as representing the state is concerned vis-a-vis the promoters and the managers of late Zubeen Garg here.
The Chief Minister of Assam has already in the past said that the case was handed over to CID, and CID has done multiple operations in Guwahati today, and the latest input that we are getting that Shekhar Jyoti Goswami, the drummer of Zubeen Garg's band, is arrested by CID from his residence few hours back, and the inputs that we are also getting is that Mohanto, Mr. S. Mohanto, and Shekhar, Mr. Sharma, this manager, Siddhartha Sharma, is also going to be arrested very soon by the CID. The latest inputs that we are getting right now, and the whole case is of negligence. The Chief Minister has asserted that the whole case is of negligence, and the CID will investigate every angle, every possible angle. And also, the Chief Minister has said that if people of Assam are not satisfied by the investigations or investigation of the CID, the case will be handed over to the CBI. So this is the latest inputs that we are getting right now. And CID, as I've mentioned earlier, that have conducted multiple operations, multiple search operations in Guwahati from this morning.
I also want to ask you, what about their whereabouts, and how is the administration going to go about this as far as the arrest is concerned? What are the specific charges also leveled against these men?
Yeah, so Shekhar Jyoti Goswami was arrested from his residence. The drummer of Zubeen Garg was also present in the yard where Zubeen Garg died. He also did a video of Zubeen Garg. So he was arrested from his residence a few hours back, and there are speculations that Shyamkumar Mohanto has landed in Guwahati, and also his Zubeen Garg's manager, that is Siddhartha Sharma, has also landed in Guwahati. They are currently held in Guwahati airport. These are all speculations, we are not confirming, but yes, there are speculations that they have landed in Guwahati, and CID can arrest them anytime soon. And the whole case is of negligence, how the manager and the management of this Northeast Festival allowed Zubeen Garg, despite having a seizure, to go in the ocean in a yacht.
I'm going to leave it at that for the moment. Rujoy Das getting us up to speed with those details. Listen in to Himata Biswa Sarma, the Chief Minister, once again.
এই গোটেই ঘটনাবোৰ 6 বছৰমান আগৰ পৰাই মোৰ চকুত আছিল আৰু আপোনালোকে যদি মোৰ বাইট দেখে মই সদায় কৈ আহিছিলোঁ যে জুবিন এটা ডাঙৰ সম্পদ কিন্তু একাংশ লোকে জুবিনক নিজৰ ব্যক্তিগত বিভিন্ন আমি সহজ সৰল ভাষাত কম যে ফায়দা উঠাবৰ কাৰণে ব্যৱহাৰ কৰা মই দেখিছিলোঁ যোৱা সংসদীয় ইলেকশ্যনত শ্যাম কানু মহন্তৰ প্ৰত্যেকটো পোষ্ট আপোনালোকে পঢ়িব থ্ৰ' এণ্ড থ্ৰ' তেওঁ নৰেন্দ্ৰ মোদী আৰু আমাক বিৰোধিতা কৰিয়ে সামাজিক মাধ্যম চলাই গৈছিল কিন্তু শ্যাম কানু মহন্তৰ ৰঙালীয়ে হওক নৰ্থ ইষ্ট ফেষ্টিভেলে হওক এইটোৱে অসমক প্ৰতিনিধিত্ব নকৰে
More news coming in. Lens on Wangchuk's financial irregularities amid the protest that Ladakh is witnessing at this point in time. Government sources say Serious financial irregularities and violations linked to Sonam Wangchuk raised critical questions about his credibility and intentions. Also, the donations contributed received by Sonam Wangchuk's NGO has increased significantly from 6 crores during the year 2023-24 to more than 15 crores during 2024-2025. Further, they've received huge foreign remittances of more than 1.5 crore without FCRA registration. Lens on Wangchuk's financial irregularities at this point in time, the manner in which it also increased in 1 year from 2023 to 2024 and then 2024 to 2025. More than 15 crores in the year 2024 to 2025 and then 6 crores on about in the year 2023-2024. Himanshu Mishra has more details. Himanshu, इस एनजीओ को ये भी इनके एलिगेशंस है इस एनजीओ के खिलाफ कि ये ह्यूज फाइनेंशियल और फॉरेन रेमिटेंसेस रिसीव कर रहे थे 1.5 करोड़ के करीब और इस पर एक एफसीआरए का जो रजिस्ट्रेशन जो मैंडेटरी है वो नहीं था, ये एक एलिगेशन है।
सोनम के आप इसलिए आ रहा है कि उनके पास का उन्होंने किया और सबसे बड़ी बात यह है कि जो आ रहा है कि उन्होंने पर्सनल कंपनी जियो के फंड को वो ट्रांसफर किया है और इसीलिए एफसीआरए का ये मैटर भी बनता है। तमाम इश्यूज को सरकार खंगाल भी रही है और जिस तरीके से सोनम वांगचुक की वजह से लद्दाख में प्रॉब्लम है उन सब चीजों को देखा जा रहा है, लेकिन कहीं ना कहीं ये एक बड़ा इशू सोनम वांगचुक के खिलाफ आ रहा है कि उन्होंने जो एनजीओ का फंड है 1 करोड़ 68 लाख रुपया 2018 से 24 के बीच में उनको अपनी कंपनीज के अकाउंट में लिया। फिर जो है 2024 के बीच में जो है अब्रॉड से जो उनको फंड आया है वो उन्होंने जो है पर्सनल अकाउंट में लिया है। तो तमाम इस तरीके के जो एलिगेशंस हैं या उन्होंने पर्सनल कंपनीज में जो लिया है इन सबको जो है सरकार भी रही है और एफसीआरए का जो मैटर बनता है उसको भी देख रही है।
Himanshu, getting in those details as far as the information regarding the FCRA registration is concerned, sources indicate that funds were received without the registration and that's the reason why there are financial irregularities which are under the radar at this point in time. Financial fraud cloud over Sonam Wangchuk in the context of the protest in Ladakh is seeing. Staying with this, a demand for statehood in Ladakh turning violent on Wednesday with protests leaving 4 dead and dozens injured. Curfew has been imposed as authorities work to restore the law and order in the situation rather. The government blames activist Sonam Wangchuk and opposition leaders for inciting violence while Wangchuk defends the protest as a response to unmet promises. Here's more.
अपने साथ से अनशन कर रहे हैं, शांति से पदयात्रा कर रहे हैं और फिर अंत में अगर हिंसा कर बैठे तो ये हमारा रास्ता।
A call for statehood that turned into a firestorm.
लोगों में बहुत रोष जागा और आज पूरे लेह में बंद की घोषणा की गई।
What began as a peaceful hunger strike in the Ladakh hills spiraled into deadly chaos on Wednesday, killing multiple protesters and injuring dozens. On Wednesday, protesters set fire to the BJP office in Leh and the Ladakh Hill Council Secretariat, apart from vehicles used by the CRPF and the police. Clashes broke out, arson followed. Activist Sonam Wangchuk, who was accused of fanning the unrest with foreign help, was forced to end his fast. The centre did not hold back. The government directly blamed Wangchuk, accused him of inciting violence by invoking foreign uprisings like the Arab Spring and Nepal's Gen Z protests. Meanwhile, the BJP went a step further, calling the violence a Congress design, pointing to 2 Congress councillors accused of fueling the unrest.
स्टंजिंग सेपांग राहुल गांधी जी के साथ है। यह जो तस्वीर है ये राहुल गांधी है, ये स्टंजिंग सेपांग है जो अपर ले वार्ड से काउंसलर है कांग्रेस पार्टी के, जिन्होंने आज प्रदर्शन को भड़काने का काम किया, उसे हिंसक बनाने का काम किया।
But Wangchuk hit back, saying that the protests reflect years of broken promises and ignored his demands.
On one hand, they have been jobless for the last 5 years. There have been almost no jobs, particularly at the higher levels, and democracy has been curtailed. Their demands have been unmet. So this frustration was painting, inside.
The Congress too backed the climate activist.
अपनी असफलता नहीं बताएंगे कि केंद्र की सरकार है आपकी, केंद्र शासित है, वहां आप नियंत्रण नहीं कर पाए। आप ही ने तो राज्य का दर्जा छीना था जम्मू कश्मीर का, और आज कांग्रेस पे इल्जाम लगा रहे हैं। चलिए अच्छा किया पंडित जवाहरलाल नेहरू पे।
Although calm has returned, curfew has been imposed in Leh. The police have also arrested over 50 protesters and more arrests are expected. The CBI too began a probe against an NGO owned by Wangchuk for an alleged forex norms breach.
Curfew-like restrictions, you have reinforcements of the police, so they are now trying to take grip of the situation. But as far as today is concerned, a lot of tension, but peace as of now, calm and tough restrictions across Leh and especially the sensitive locations in the heart of the Leh city.
With Mir Fareed in Leh, Bureau Report, India Today.
Moving on, the Ministry of Defence has inked what is being described as the largest deal for an indigenous fighter aircraft. Well, it's the end of an era and the dawn of a new one, as the legendary MiG-21s, the backbone really of Indian skies for 6 decades, finally bids goodbye. The future now roars in with Tejas. In a mega move, the Ministry of Defence today inked a 62,000 crore deal with HAL for 97 Tejas Mk-1A jets, 68 single-seaters and 29 twin-seat trainers. Deliveries begin 2027-2028, with all jets to be rolled out in 6 years. The Tejas Mk-1A packs over 64% indigenous content, a cutting-edge radar and the Swayam Raksha Kavach self-defense suite. It's not just about air power, it's about Atmanirbhar Bharat taking flight. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh hailing the deal as a major boost to self-reliance as India's homegrown fighter steps into centre stage. The biggest deal for an indigenous fighter aircraft. Let's break down the significance of the same. Reason number one, largest ever Tejas Mk-1A contract for the Indian Air Force. Of course, it is a 62,370 crore deal inked with HAL for 97 Tejas Mk-1A. It replaces the gap that has obviously left by former mainstay MiG-21. 97 new jets to expand the Indian Air Force's depleting squadrons. Also 105 Indian companies in supply chain, 11,750 jobs generated annually. I'm going to go straight across to my colleagues Sandeep Unnithan, senior journalist, joining us, and Shivani Sharma also connecting with us for the very latest on that. Sandeep, coming to you first. This is not just a big order. It's transformational in just so many ways. Boost to indigenous defense capability and, of course, addressing the fleet gaps and aging aircraft, isn't it?
Well, absolutely, Sneha. It is the the largest order for the indigenous Tejas Mark-1a aircraft. The last such order was placed in 2021. But there's a bit of concern over here because, as the Air Force has pointed out, that even the orders for the 2021, the aircraft have still not been delivered. It's been over 18 months now. The first aircraft were to have been delivered in March 2024. It's September and the first aircraft have still not come. So there have been several issues. There's been a bit of bad blood between HAL and the Indian Air Force over the delayed deliveries. Of course, it has to do with the GE 404 engines that are coming in from the United States because of supply chain issues, as they call it. And the point that this is coming in at just 24 hours before the last MiG-21 squadrons of the Air Force are phased out. The last 2 squadrons, which would bring the Indian Air Force's squadron strength to just 29 fighter squadrons. That is the smallest Indian Air Force that we are seeing at least since 1962. That is the time that the MiG-21 entered service. Now, the reasons for this, of course, are very clear, that all the MiG-21s that came in over the last 50, 60 years were to have been replaced by the LCA Tejas. Now, that hasn't happened for various reasons. There have been delays, and that is the reason that you're looking at a very small Indian Air Force, and the fact that the Air Force is extremely worried about the falling squadron numbers, which is why they're pushing in for additional imports of the Rafale. 114 Rafale jets is what the Air Force is looking at in the short term to bridge this capability gap. The fact that it is 13 squadrons below the sanctioned squadron strength of about 42 squadrons. Sneha.
All right, Sandeep, be with us. In fact, I'm going to bring in Shivani in this conversation as well. You know, this is more than just a deal, isn't it? It sends out a message internationally, Shivani, that India is maturing in defense manufacturing. This can help future export potential as well, isn't it?
Certainly, Sneha, this has a big message because the 97 Tejas Mark-1a that have been now ordered formally as the additional orders, they have indigenous content of about 64%. Not only this, they have additional features, more 67 features that make them more capable as compared to the prior version that was being manufactured after the order of 2021. As Sandeep was also pointing out, there is a certain delay in the production of the Tejas Mark-1as due to the engine deliveries which have been delayed by the GE. And we've already received 3 engines, Sneha. One more is being expected this month. But yes, certainly after Operation Sindoor, a lot of countries have shown interest and confidence in India's weapon systems, including the Tejas too. And it is a shot in the arm for the HAL, of course, because Tejas was designed in order to replace the MiGs, and that's how it is being perceived by the Indian Air Force also, and that's why they are quite concerned about the delays, because the MiG-21s are being phased out. Tomorrow, the last 2 squadrons of MiG-21 are being phased out in Chandigarh, and of course, the squadron strength now, that will be 29, is the lowest since 1962. So to fulfill that gap, there are other discussions and deliberations also, of course, happening, because the Tejas Mark-1a 97 additional order will only start rolling in after 27-28, and it will take around 6 years as claimed by HAL. But yes, seeing the delays, there needs to be another solution with the 114 Rafales that the Indian Air Force is also recommending and demanding.
All right, I'm going to leave it at that for the moment. Shivani, Sandeep getting in those details and putting that important story into perspective. It comes just before the retirement of MiG-21s. The timing of it in that sense is perfect, but the first deliveries would start 2027 is what we know. With that, it's time for a quick break. Here on the other side, we're getting the story of a 20-year-old student from Maharashtra who's died by suicide. Remember, we're talking about a topper in the NEET examinations. He's killed himself because he didn't want to pursue that career path.
India Today Conclave Mumbai 2025. September 25 and 26, Mumbai. Watch live.
ਜਦੋਂ ਮੇਰੀ ਫਿਲਮ ਆਈ ਸੀ ਸਰਦਾਰ ਜੀ, ਉਹ ਫਰਵਰੀ 'ਚ ਬਣੀ ਸੀ ਜਦੋਂ ਆਲਰੇਡੀ ਮੈਚ ਖੇਡਦੇ ਪਏ ਸੀ ਸਾਰੇ। ਔਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਹੀ ਦੁਖਦਾਈ ਘਟਨਾ ਹੋਈ ਪਹਿਲਗਾਮ ਅਟੈਕ ਦੀ, ਅਸੀਂ ਉਦੋਂ ਵੀ ਨਿੰਦਾ ਕੀਤੀ, ਉਦੋਂ ਵੀ ਅਰਦਾਸ ਕੀਤੀ, ਅੱਜ ਵੀ ਅਰਦਾਸ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਵੀ ਉਹ ਹਮਲਾ ਕੀਤਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਖਤ ਤੋਂ ਸਖਤ ਸਜ਼ਾ ਮਿਲਣੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਹੈ। ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਦੇਸ਼ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ, ਪਰ ਆ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹੁਣ ਮੈਚ ਹੋਏ ਆ, ਇਹਨਾਂ ਤੇ ਮੇਰੀ ਫਿਲਮ ਦਾ ਫਰਕ ਬਹੁਤ ਹੈ। ਸਾਡੀ ਫਿਲਮ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਸ਼ੂਟ ਹੋਈ ਸੀ, ਮੈਚ ਬਾਅਦ ਚ ਹੋਇਆ, ਤੇ ਨੈਸ਼ਨਲ ਮੀਡੀਆ ਦਾ ਜ਼ੋਰ ਲੱਗ ਗਿਆ ਦਿਲਜੀਤ ਦੋਸਾਂਝ ਨੂੰ ਦੇਸ਼ ਦੇ ਖਿਲਾਫ ਦਿਖਾਉਣ ਦੇ ਲਈ, ਪਰ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਤੇ ਸਰਦਾਰ ਕੌਮ ਕਦੇ ਦੇਸ਼ ਦੇ ਖਿਲਾਫ ਨਹੀਂ ਜਾ ਸਕਦੀ।
खत लिखा है, फिर अख्तर ईमान साहब ने यहाँ के लीडर अपोजिशन को लेटर लिखा है। मीडिया के जरिए हमने इस बात को कहा है कि MIM पार्टी अलायंस के लिए तैयार है, और फिर अख्तर ईमान साहब ने अपने आखिरी खत में ये भी कहा है कि हमको अब 6 सीट दे दीजिए। अब ये उनको फैसला करना है, ये नहीं करेंगे तो बिहार की जनता ये देख लेगी कि कौन बीजेपी को कामयाब कराना चाहता है या कौन बीजेपी को रोकना चाहता है। तो अब ये फैसला बिहार की आवाम पर है। हम तो अपनी जिम्मेदारी को निभा चुके हैं। कल कोई या हमसे ना कहे कि आपने बातचीत नहीं की, आपने फुला नहीं किया।
देश में पूरब में तो आग लगी थी, मणिपुर में जो शांत लद्दाख था वहां भी आग लग गई। बहुत ही संवेदनशील इलाका है गलवान घाटी, यही तो है जहां हमारे 21 जवान शहीद किए गए। चीन से मिलती है सीमा, वहां शांति जरूरी है, पर ये घटिया आदतों से बाज आए भाजपा। अपनी असफलता नहीं बताएंगे कि केंद्र की सरकार है आपकी, केंद्र शासित है, वहां आप नियंत्रण नहीं कर पाए। आप ही ने तो राज्य का दर्जा छीना था जम्मू कश्मीर का, और आज कांग्रेस पे इल्जाम लगा रहे हैं। चलिए अच्छा किया पंडित जवाहरलाल नेहरू पे नहीं लगाया। प्रधानमंत्री जी, आप पूरी तरह असफल हो रहे हैं।
जिस तरह कांग्रेस के लीडर्स इंक्लूडिंग काउंसलर्स, जहाँ वो जो सोशल एक्टिविस्ट है वहाँ के वांगचुक साहब, जिस तरह उन्होंने प्रवोक करा है, इतनी ही बात थी कि उनका शायद वो इनविटेशन में उनका नाम नहीं था, और बातचीत उनकी चल रही है। बड़ी दरीना मांग थी यूटी की, यूटी दिया है, और नरेंद्र मोदी जी ही दे सकते हैं, उन्होंने नहीं दिया। कांग्रेस इनको और 50 साल एक्सप्लॉइट करती है।
Welcome back. Well, we often hear the phrase pressure kills, but rarely do we stop to think just how true that really is. This is the story of Anurag Anil Borkar, a 20-year-old student from Maharashtra's Chandrapur district. Anurag was brilliant. He scored an unbelievable 99.99 percentile in NEET, securing an all-India rank of 1,475. He had been admitted to the prestigious AIMS College in Gorakhpur for MBBS, a dream placement in that sense as far as your education is concerned. But on the very day he was supposed to leave for college, he killed himself. He left behind a suicide note, and he wrote something that forces us to question everything we know about success, achievement, and dreams. He wrote, and I quote, "I don't want to pursue MBBS. A businessman can earn as much as a doctor. 5 years of study followed by an MD. I don't want to do all this," is what he wrote. Well, these aren't just words. These are the final cries of a young boy who may be feeling trapped not by failure, but by expectations. So we must ask this question today: who killed Anurag? Was it the system? Was it parental pressure? Was it our society's obsession with status, degrees, and prestige? Why are children still not allowed to chase their own passions? Why is choosing a different path seen as a rebellion? We're asking these questions to our guests today as well. Let Anurag's story be a wake-up call for us.
आज सकाळी 4 वाजता माहिती मिळाली की नवरगाव येथे राहणारे श्री अनिल बोरकर यांचा मुलगा अनुराग वय 20 वर्ष याने घरी पंख्याला लटकून आत्महत्या केलेली आहे. त्याबरोबरच संपूर्ण पोलीस स्टाफ त्या ठिकाणी पोहोचला आणि पुढील कार्यवाही करण्यात आलेली आहे. सुसाईड नोटप्रमाणे एकंदरीत असे दिसून येते की त्याला एकूण अभ्यासाचं प्रेशर हँडल करता आलं नाही आणि त्यामुळे त्याने आत्महत्या केल्याचं दिसून येतं.
Dr. Bhavna Barmi, clinical psychologist and founder Happiness Studio, is joining us this evening. Thank you for your time. You know, I want you to please reiterate this, that suicide really is never the answer. We don't know what this young man was dealing with. Was he really forced to choose a career path that he did not want to really get into? Possibly under parental pressure. We wouldn't want to judge, but there's very little information right now. That is what it really appears prima facie.
Very, very unfortunate to hear that the bright sparks are also going through such unfortunate turmoils within themselves, which raises up very many questions. And while as a psychologist, I can't say that every case is the same, but psychological research indicates there are multiple overlapping pressures and risk factors that contribute to such tragic outcomes. Here, I would say that even after clearing the exam, if anybody, like our dear own Anurag, are forced or pressurized into a field that they don't want to be, as in this case, in the note that he left, he didn't want to become a doctor, it is an indication that there is a mismatch between expectations and personal desires. This mismatch between personal aspirations and external expectations is where we need to start this reflection. Especially in this particular case, a young man did not want to pursue medicine, but probably felt psychologically compelled to do so. And it very strongly reflects not only parental, but also societal expectations that can pressurize students into paths that they don't want.
Yes.
And that is what we all need to move towards. He probably didn't actually want this path, but sometimes students achieve top ranks because of family pressure. This mismatch can produce unbearable distress in them and extreme external expectations and fear of disappointing others. Because they have top ranks, they raise expectations of family, relatives, community, society, and the fear of failing those expectations can also be a major stressor.
What
There's a lot
should
of
be the word of
psychological
advice really,
research.
doctor, for parents? And also I would want to ask you, what role would the educational institute in this case play, to counsel students, to constantly talk to students about what is it that they actually want to do, sense that there is a problem in a student. Maybe a student is battling a crisis in their head and they want to talk about it. Isn't that extremely important?
Absolutely. I think first we should all be very aware of the red flags that students raise. Secondly, very important is for families and educational institutions to listen without judgment. Ask open questions. How do you feel about the path that you are planning to take?
Right.
Validate their feelings rather than only pushing outcomes is very important. Another thing I think we should all do as mature adults in the society is discuss alternatives and offer real choices, different courses, foreign or private options, things like that, so that the student himself starts to feel in some control. I think it's very, very important for us to give them an open thought process. And of course, for educational institutions, I think it is important for them to probably have some mental health policies and awareness programs where there is maybe some screening for those red flags that can be done early so that we can prevent unfortunate incidents like this happening.
What a tragic story that we're putting our focus really on this young man who did so well, but unfortunately that's not the path that he wanted to choose for himself. He actually chose death over becoming a doctor because he didn't want to be a doctor. I'm going to leave it at that, Dr. Barmi, for joining in and sharing your thoughts with us on that important topic, on that important issue of mental health and the crisis that young people really are dealing with, the problems that these young people are dealing with, particularly many students. Moving on, 4 years after their wedding, Katrina Kaif and Vicky Kaushal have shared the news that they're expecting their first child. The 42-year-old actor flaunted a baby bump in the announcement post. Since then, social media has been flooded with discussions on the right age of pregnancy. Social media users have pointed out that while celebrities make it look easier, fertility starts declining after 30 and the risk of complications are higher. Gynecologists, doctors talk about the fact that the best age for the first pregnancy is before 30. After 30, the quality of a woman's eggs start to decline. That can make it harder to conceive, may increase chances of complications as well. And we're listing out for our viewers one condition that is expected very often, and this is something that doctors actually rule out during the pregnancy itself, is Down syndrome. But the big question is that Katrina is not alone. Age maybe is just a number for celebrities. Kareena Kapoor's first child, Taimur Ali Khan, was born when she was 35, second when she was 40. Gauri Khan's third child was born through IVF surrogacy at 43. Neha Dhupia's first child was born at 37, second when she was 41. Dia Mirza delivered her son at the age of 39. Shilpa Shetty had her first child at 37, second via surrogacy at 41. Dr. Rahul Manchanda, senior consultant at Delhi's PSRI Hospital, is now joining us. Thank you so much for your time, doctor. I want to ask you, a lot of chatter online on why this is problematic. Sending out a message through celebrities that this is normal. It's okay to try and have children after the age of 40. Not really talking much about the problem. Are celebrities, in a way, doctor, in your opinion, also in a way sending out a message that do what you wish to? Late pregnancies are also okay and perhaps risk-free.
Well, good evening, Sneha, and thank you for having me here. I think I don't think they're sending out a message.
Okay.
But what you mentioned in the preamble to what you've discussing is very correct. With age, the chances of having a pregnancy decrease, and if you do get pregnant, then the chances of having a miscarriage and having complications or problems during pregnancy do increase. So the correct age, or rather, I wouldn't say correct age, but probably the preferable age to get pregnant for a lady or should I say a couple, is between 20 and 30. Having said that, as you know, nowadays we have careers to follow, and whether we like it or not, the lady does have a biological clock that is ticking. So some of them we now have methods by which you can sort of plan your pregnancy and have a baby later once you've sort of taken up your goals for your career. But these pregnancies do come with complications, with problems. They need to be monitored more closely, and the problems need to be taken care of by
That's
a
right.
specialist.
You know, doctor, I also want to ask you that it's not just about, conceiving and then having the risk of, say, chromosomal conditions that become higher. The risk of it becomes higher. Babies obviously born to older mothers have a risk of other problems such as Down syndrome that we are talking about. But also this entire thing about, freezing your eggs and planning for a pregnancy, a decade later, IVF that I know of 25-year-olds who are turning to today, These aren't without risks, isn't it?
Yes, you're right.
Yes.
But they do offer us an option now with these techniques available, and it's something that we can offer to people who wish to delay pregnancies. Not the most ideal situation. Like I said, they need to be monitored. The risks need to be explained properly to the ladies, and only when those are understood, and like I said, pregnancies need to be monitored, then only should one go ahead with this, because like you said correctly, the risk of Down syndrome, even the risk of having complications during pregnancy, whether it's high blood pressure, diabetes, having deliveries that you can have bleeding before you deliver, you can have what we call intrauterine growth retardations, low for birth babies. These are problems that you can have with advancing age pregnancies, and hence need to be monitored carefully by a gynecologist who's qualified, and then taken care of.
That's right. A lot of chatter online on whether this is normalizing late pregnancies. Some people have opined on the same, but we don't want to. We just want to put the focus and the spotlight on the dangers of late pregnancies. Certainly, we wish Katrina Kaif and Vicky Kaushal all the best for their new bundle of joy, who is really on his or her way. We don't know just yet.
Many congratulations to them.
Absolutely, Doctor. Our wishes are with them. I'm going to thank you for joining in, Dr. Manchanda, there connecting with us on that story. With that, we are pausing for a quick commercial break here on the show. On the other side, legal trouble for Aryan Khan's Bads of Bollywood. Former NCB officer Samir Wankhede has filed defamation case claiming series damaged his reputation. Story and much more in just a bit.